You know what's wild? I've been paying rent at my parents' house like a damn tenant. And somehow I'm still the ungrateful one for not also supporting my freeloading brother's circus of a life. A year ago, I thought I had a decent setup. I was 23, working part-time as an HVAC apprentice while finishing up trade school. Not glamorous, but honest work. I lived at home with my parents in a small Ohio town to save money, paid $600 a month in rent, utilities included. Way cheaper than trying to get a place on my own. And yeah, I know how that sounds, living at home in your 20s. But I wasn't freeloading. I paid my rent. I bought my own groceries. I didn't leave dirty dishes in the sink or blast music at 2 a.m. I just worked, studied, and kept my head down. Then Cole showed up. Cole's my older brother, 27, 2 kids, and a wife who acts like she's a reality TV star without the camera crew. He used to work as a mechanic on base in Texas but got discharged early, claimed back problems. Came home and suddenly he's a disabled vet starting a business flipping high-end cars. Right. When he first moved back, it was supposed to be just for a few weeks. My parents said they were helping him get back on his feet. I believe them. I mean, we're family, right? Wrong. A few weeks turned into months. Then they turned the guest room into a nursery. Then my parents started asking me to help cover some of the increased expenses. Just until Cole gets his VA payout, my mom said. He's getting a big back paycheck, any day now. Yeah, sure, that check's been any day now for 8 freaking months. Meanwhile, the house turned into a damn daycare, toys everywhere. Screaming toddlers at 6 a.m. My room was the only place I had to myself until it wasn't. One morning I walked in from work exhausted, just wanting to crash, and I saw a toddler bed in the corner of my room. No warning, no discussion, just boom, tiny furniture in my space. WTF is this? I asked my mom. They need space, Max. You're barely home anyway. Don't be selfish. Selfish? I pay rent. Cole doesn't. I buy my own groceries. Cole and his wife eat ours and leave the fridge open like it's a drive-thru. But I'm the selfish one. I tried to keep it together. I really did. I figured maybe if I gave it time, they'd get their stuff together. Maybe Cole's payout would actually come through. Maybe he'd move out. But no, instead, they doubled down. Cole quit job hunting completely. His wife started leaving passive-aggressive notes around the kitchen like it was her house. One of them actually said, "Please clean up after yourself, we're all adults here." Oh really? Tell that to your husband playing Call of Duty at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday while your kid wipes jelly on my desk. I hit my limit last week. The final straw wasn't even the toddler bed in my room. That was bad, don't get me wrong, but I could have lived with it for a bit longer if it had just stayed there. Instead, it escalated. Like 3 days after the bed showed up, I came home from work sweaty, tired, just wanting to grab a shower and maybe some leftovers, and I walked into the living room to find my nephew drawing on the wall, with permanent marker, my wall, and Cole. This man just sat there half laughing, saying boys will be boys. No apology. No offer to clean it up. Not even a, hey, sorry, Max. Just shrugged it off like I was the crazy one for being pissed that my walls now had Pokemon characters drawn on them in black Sharpie. I went upstairs, slammed the door, and for the first time in months, I let myself feel it. Not just the irritation, the full rage, the tiredness, the resentment, all of it. Because here's the thing, no one ever tells you about being the responsible one in your family. Everyone assumes you'll keep taking it. That you're reliable. That you'll bend. Until you finally fucking snap. And I was close. Anyway, fast forward to the next morning, Sunday breakfast time. I'm in the kitchen making eggs. I'm already in a mood because someone drank the last of my orange juice and put the empty carton back in the fridge. Who does that? My mom walks in with this weirdly sweet tone, the kind she uses when she's about to ask for something unreasonable. She's like, "Hey, sweetie, can we talk for a second?" I already know where this is going, but I pretend to play dumb. "Sure, what's up?" She goes, "So, with Cole and the kids being here, the utilities have gone up quite a bit. And groceries, obviously. We were thinking it would really help if you could bump your rent contribution a little." I put my fork down. How much is a little? Maybe $250 more. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. I just started laughing like I'd heard a great joke. Because I thought for a second she had to be joking. But she wasn't. She was dead serious. Dead fucking serious. So I asked, is Cole going to start paying something then? Her face changed immediately. Like I had personally insulted the Pope. Max, you know Cole's situation. He's got 2 kids. He's doing his best. It's not fair to compare. I'm sorry, what I'm paying $600. You're asking for $850 now. And your grown-ass son who hasn't had a real job in years and spends his afternoons napping while his wife starts drama in the group chat is paying 0. Screw that. I said I'm doing my best too. I'm working 6 days a week and going to night classes. You think money grows on trees for me? She did the mom sigh, the kind that says, I'm disappointed in you for having boundaries. Then she mumbled something about how I don't understand what it means to be part of a family. That Cole needs us. That I should sacrifice for the greater good. Blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. Nothing kills your appetite faster than being guilt-tripped while holding a spatula. I walked out. Didn't even finish breakfast. Later that night, I sat down with my dad thinking maybe he'd be the voice of reason. Historically, he's the quieter one, more practical. Didn't go great. He just nodded along while I explained everything. The toddler bed, the wall graffiti, the new rent hike. And then he hit me with, sometimes you just have to step up, son. Step up. I've been stepping up since I was 17. I paid for my own truck. I bought my own tools. I've never once asked them for a dime. Meanwhile, Cole gets to move back in rent-free, destroy the house, and I'm the one who needs to do more. I swear, if I hadn't been holding a glass at the time, I would have clapped. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, and it hit me. I was done. Not angry done. Not storm out the door dramatic done. Just hollow done. The kind of done that comes when you've got nothing left to argue. So the next morning, I started quietly packing. Not everything at once, just a box or 2 here and there. Some clothes, my tools, important documents. I didn't want to raise suspicion. I found a buddy from class, Jake, who had just rented a 2-bedroom a few blocks from my job. He was looking for a roommate. Rent was $400 each plus utilities. Smaller space, but clean. Quiet. He said I could move in any time. I told him I'd be there in a week. In the meantime, the house got worse. My mom stopped talking to me unless it was about chores or bills. Cole's wife made these loud phone calls in the kitchen like I wasn't standing there. I just don't know how people can be so selfish, she'd say. Passive-aggressive. Try straight-up aggressive-aggressive. Then 3 nights before I was supposed to move, I came home to find Cole's wife digging through my desk drawers. Dead serious, just casually rummaging through my stuff. When I asked what she was doing, she smiled and said, "Oh, I needed a pen." A pen. There's a drawer full of pens in the kitchen. But she walked all the way into my room, opened my desk, and was flipping through my papers looking for a fucking pen. Nah, I didn't even yell. I just left. Went straight to Jake's place with another load of boxes and told him, "We're doing this. I'm out." That was the first night I actually breathed. No screaming kids. No passive-aggressive tension. No being told I need to step up for people who've never once stepped up for me. I finally felt like I had something back, like a piece of myself I didn't even know I'd lost. But of course, the peace didn't last long. Because 2 days later, my mom found out. She called me 14 times in a row. I ignored all of them. The voicemail classic. "Max, how could you do this to us? We needed you. Your brother's been through so much. You're tearing this family apart." Sure, I'm the problem. I didn't call her back. I couldn't. Not because I didn't care. God, I wish I didn't care, but because I knew exactly how that call would go. She'd cry, I'd feel guilty, she'd drop some "after all we've done for you" line, and I'd end up stuck in that house again, probably with Cole sleeping in my room by the end of the month. No thanks. So I ignored it. And then came the texts. Paragraphs. Like full-on mini-novels of guilt and emotional manipulation. Stuff like, "We sacrificed so much to raise you. Your father is heartbroken. Your brother is struggling and you just walked out. This isn't the son we raised. Funny, I thought the son you raised was the one actually working and paying bills, but okay." I stayed quiet. I didn't respond. I focused on getting my crap out of that house for good. By Sunday, I'd moved in completely. Jake helped me carry the last box up the stairs, and I remember just standing there in that tiny two-bedroom apartment looking around like this is mine now. No screaming, no judgment, no toddler handprints on my laptop. We grabbed burgers that night and cracked a couple of beers, and I swear I haven't felt that level of peace in years. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. My mattress on the floor, my beat-up laptop, my broken mini fridge that buzzed like a lawnmower, but all of it was mine. Then Monday came, and guess who showed up at my work? Yup, my dad. I was elbow deep in a condenser coil when I saw his truck pull up. I actually thought for a second he might be dropping something off. Tools, maybe. Something normal. Nope. He walks straight into the shop, past customers, past my manager, and says, "We need to talk, now." Dead serious, not even a hello. So we stepped outside. He was pacing, fuming. I could practically see the vein in his forehead. "You moved out without telling us. What the hell, Max?" I just stared at him. Yeah, I did. "You left your family high and dry." High and dry. I laughed. "You mean I stopped being your financial backup plan?" That hit. He went silent for a second, then said, "We've always been there for you." And I almost lost it. Always been there. Like when I worked 2 jobs to pay for trade school, and they told me I was wasting my time. Or when I asked them to co-sign for a small loan for tools, and they said no, but gave Cole $3,000 for his dealership idea. Sure, always. I didn't argue. I just said, "I'm not coming back, Dad. You need to figure things out with Cole." Then I walked back inside. That night, I got another call, this time from Cole himself. Didn't expect that one. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity got the better of me. The call started off normal, too normal. "Yo, man, just wanted to check in. Mom's kind of losing it." No shit. She said you're like, really upset. "Yeah, I'm upset that your kids were about to share a room with me and you never paid a cent. But sure." Then he drops it. "Anyway, so with you gone, things are kinda tight over here." Oh, there it is. Utilities are higher, grocery bills too, and Mom said you were helping out with that before. I didn't say anything. So I was wondering if maybe you could chip in still, just till things stabilize. This man. This actual grown man with 2 children and a wife who spends more on Sephora than I spend on rent is asking me, his younger brother, for rent money on a house I don't live in anymore. I almost asked if he was joking, but instead I just said, "No." "Come on, dude." "No, you're a dad. Act like one." Then I hung up. Jake was sitting on the couch when I walked out of my room. I think the look on my face said it all. "Let me guess," he said. "Cole needs a bailout." "He needs a reality check," I muttered. A few days passed. No more calls. No texts. I figured maybe they'd finally gotten the message. Until one night Jake and I were eating dinner and he goes, "Hey man, you might want to see this." He handed me his phone. He had Facebook open. My mom had posted this long dramatic status update. No names, of course, but the tone was crystal clear. It's heartbreaking when the people you raise turn their backs on you. We all fall on hard times, but families should stick together, especially when children are involved. The comments, a mix of praying for you, stay strong, and you did your best. Someone even wrote, maybe he just needs time to realize what really matters. I sat there scrolling, just stunned, not surprised, just empty. Because they were painting me as the villain. The cold, selfish son who walked out on his poor, struggling family. And Cole, the innocent victim of hard times. I didn't respond. I didn't comment. I didn't defend myself. But I did do one thing. I started looking through some documents I'd saved months ago. Back when Cole first moved in, he was bragging about this VA disability claim he'd filed, said he was going to get a huge payout, like 6 figures. He kept talking about combat stress and trauma and how the payout would change everything. Except he never saw combat. He never even left the country. I had screenshots, messages he sent me, photos, all kinds of stuff. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I figured, hey, maybe he actually has some legit claim. Maybe he's just being dramatic. But now I was pissed. Because they were using me to prop him up. They were using my money, my space, my silence, and then turning around and acting like I was the ungrateful one. Nah, that wasn't flying anymore. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I submitted an anonymous report to the VA's Office of Inspector General. Just a short email. Attached some files. Explained that someone was claiming PTSD and combat-related injuries without any record of deployment. I didn't know if it would go anywhere. Maybe they'd ignore it. Maybe they'd investigate. Maybe nothing would happen. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to keep being the only one held accountable in that house. It took about 2 weeks. 2 weeks of silence. 2 weeks of awkward breathing room. 2 weeks of me slowly starting to feel human again. During that time, I threw myself into work. Jake and I started doing side jobs on weekends, small HVAC gigs, mostly referrals. I fixed a busted AC unit for a teacher who paid me in lasagna and a bottle of wine. Took on a job at a nursing home where this sweet old guy gave me a $20 tip and said, "You're sharp, kid. Don't waste it." And for the first time in what felt like forever, I didn't feel like a disappointment, or a backup plan, or the invisible sibling. I felt capable. Jake noticed it too. One night after we'd finished installing a unit in the back of someone's garage, he looked at me and said, "You've changed, man." I raised an eyebrow. Changed how? He shrugged, less pissed. Still moody as hell, but like, in control. He wasn't wrong. I didn't feel calm exactly, but I felt solid, like I was finally on my own track, not just orbiting around everyone else's mess. And then the storm hit. It started with a call from my mom. I was sitting in the shop eating lunch in the back room when my phone buzzed. Her name flashed on the screen. I let it ring. Then it buzzed again. And again. Then came the text. "Something's going on with Cole's benefits. He just got a notice from the VA. They're doing some kind of review. Do you know anything about this?" I stared at it for a while. Do I know anything? I sat there, phone in hand, and just let it sit. I didn't respond. I didn't owe her that. Then an hour later, another one from Cole. "Dude, you seriously reported me. You're messing with my life, my kids." I didn't respond to that one either. And then the spiral began, full speed. Over the next 48 hours, my parents went from confused to panicked to furious. My mom left me voicemails crying. My dad sent a long email that was half threat, half guilt trip. Cole kept texting me variations of, "You ruined everything." Apparently, the VA had frozen his pending benefits and started a formal investigation. They were reviewing his medical claims, deployment history, all of it. From what I gathered, he'd used language that implied active combat trauma in his application. Big mistake. Because Cole never deployed. He spent 2 years in Texas doing oil changes on trucks. Not saying that doesn't count for something, but it's not what he claimed. I didn't have to lie. I just let them look for themselves. Jake and I were chilling in the living room when I read the latest message from Cole out loud. "You're a bitter little bitch. You always hated that I was the favorite." Jake burst out laughing. "Damn," he said. He finally said it out loud. I chuckled. "Yeah, guess it's official." Honestly, I thought I'd feel bad. I thought I'd be racked with guilt or second-guessing. But instead, I felt nothing. Not joy, not anger, just this weird, calm certainty. Like, this is what boundaries feel like. This is what it means to stop letting people walk all over you just because they share your DNA. I didn't gloat. I didn't respond. I just sat with the silence. A few days later, things escalated again. My mom called while I was at work. I ignored it. Then she showed up to my job. Yes, again. This time I saw her through the front window before she walked in. She looked tired, worn, not angry, just deflated. I stepped outside to talk to her. No need to bring family drama into the break room. She opened with, "Why would you do this to your own brother?" No hello, no how are you, just straight to it. I crossed my arms. I didn't do anything to him. I just told the truth. Her eyes filled with tears. "You reported him. To the government." I shrugged. I told them what he told me. That's it. She shook her head like I was a stranger. "He's your brother Max." Family. I looked at her for a long second, and then said the quiet part out loud. "He's not my family. He's your project, your chosen one. He's never once treated me like a brother." That stung. I could see it. She started crying full on in the parking lot. "I don't know how we're going to make it without that money. We have bills. Cole's got the kids. We're already late on the mortgage. And there it was. We. I raised an eyebrow. Why is your mortgage depending on my brother's fake PTSD claim? She wiped her eyes. We believed in him. I nodded. You always did. She tried to say something else, but I cut her off. I'm not coming back, Mom. I love you, but I'm done being your safety net. And with that, I walked back inside. That night, I got one last message from Cole. It just said, "Hope you're happy. You broke Mom." I stared at it, then deleted it. Because no, I didn't break her. She did. By building her world around a fantasy where her golden son was always the victim and I was always the spare. I started therapy the week after. Jake's cousin knew a guy who took sliding scale payments. First session, I just ranted for 45 minutes. Didn't even let the therapist talk. He sat there listening, nodding, sipping his tea like it was the most normal thing in the world. At the end, he said, "Sounds like you've been invisible for a long time." And man, I felt that. He helped me unpack the whole thing, how I kept trying to earn their approval, thinking if I just worked harder, gave more, kept quiet longer, they'd finally see me. But they never would. Because it was never about fairness. It was about the role I'd been assigned. And now I was rewriting it. I wasn't perfect. I still felt waves of guilt sometimes, like maybe I had gone too far. Maybe I should have warned them, given them a heads up. But every time I thought that, I remembered the toddler bed in my room, the marker on my wall, my mom telling me I didn't understand family. And I knew this was necessary. It wasn't revenge, it was survival. It was me choosing myself for once. A few weeks later, Jake and I landed a contract doing seasonal maintenance for a small apartment complex. Nothing huge, but steady work. Enough to keep the lights on and my fridge full. And one night, as I sat on the balcony drinking a warm beer and watching traffic hum past, I realized something. I didn't miss them. Not really. I missed the idea of them, the version of family I kept hoping they'd be. But the real thing? The one that drained me, used me, ignored me. I was better off without it. It had been a quiet month. No calls, no texts, no Facebook rants, not even a happy birthday from Mom, which wasn't exactly a shocker, but still cold. I figured that was it. They'd finally given up trying to pull me back in. I wasn't coming to Thanksgiving. I wasn't sending money. I was done playing the role, and for a while it felt like peace. I'd wake up in the apartment, walk barefoot to the fridge, make eggs, and drink coffee in total silence. The only sound was Jake yelling at his fantasy football app, which honestly became kind of comforting. I kept grinding at work, knocking out side jobs, saving what I could. I wasn't rich, still living paycheck to paycheck, but at least the money I earned stayed mine. Every dollar didn't vanish into some bottomless family pit. One Friday afternoon, Jake and I wrapped up early. We'd just replaced a busted rooftop unit and were grabbing tacos at this little spot near the train station. Jake was mid-rant about HVAC manufacturers. "They're all crooks, bro. All of them." When my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Normally, I'd ignore it, but something told me to pick up. I answered. "Hello." Long pause. Then Max. My heart froze. It was Cole. I stood up and walked away from the table, holding the phone tight to my ear. I couldn't believe he was actually calling, not texting, not rage posting, calling. I didn't say anything, just waited. He exhaled. "Look, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to talk." No shit. He kept going. "They're still investigating. VA people came by, asked me for documents I couldn't find, talked to my old CO. He paused again. "They found out about the deployment lie." Silence. "They're not pressing charges or anything, but the claim's denied. Permanently. I'm blacklisted. I gotta pay back what they already sent." I waited. He finally said, "I screwed up, Max. I know that." Still, I said nothing. And then came the kicker. "I want to fix things. With you, with everything." I laughed. Couldn't help it. That bitter kind of laugh that's not funny, just exhausting. "You want to fix things now, after all that?" He didn't get defensive, surprisingly. "I deserve that. I've been thinking about everything. What I put you through. What Mom and Dad let happen." I raised an eyebrow. "What you put me through?" He sighed. "Yeah, me. I'm not blaming them. I made the mess. I just didn't think it'd fall apart this hard. That was the most honest thing I'd heard from him in probably 10 years. He asked if we could meet, just talk. I said I'd think about it. Hung up, walked back to the table. Jake looked up from his phone. Was that? Yep. Jake tilted his head. You good? I shrugged. Honestly, I have no idea. That night, I sat in my room with a cold Coke and just stared at the wall. My mind kept flashing back to stuff I hadn't thought about in years, me and Cole, building tree forts as kids trading Halloween candy, him pushing me into the lake that one summer, then pulling me back up laughing. We weren't always like this. But then I remembered the way he treated me last year, the toddler bed, his wife in my room, the rent hike, him telling my parents I should chip in more. Could I really just forgive all that? Or was this just another play? I texted him. Meet me tomorrow, 5 p.m., field behind the old middle school. He said yes. The next day I showed up early, sat on the old metal bleachers and let the wind smack me in the face. It was cold, felt appropriate. Cole pulled up a few minutes late, got out of the car wearing an old hoodie and jeans looking like he hadn't slept in days. He walked over hands in pockets. Neither of us spoke right away. Then he said, "You look good." I raised an eyebrow. "You don't." He laughed short and bitter. "Fair." We stood there a minute. "I don't know how to start," he said. "Then don't start. Just say what you came to say." He nodded. "I've been a shit brother. I thought Mom and Dad would always cover for me. And when they didn't, I thought, maybe you would, because you always have." I didn't say anything. He looked down. "When I saw how you stood up to them, walked away, made your own space, it pissed me off at first. But then I realized you did what I never could." "And what's that?" I asked. "Stopped lying to yourself." That one hit. He looked me dead in the eye. "I don't expect you to forgive me. Hell, I don't even know if I deserve that, but I do want to say thank you." I blinked. For what? For holding up the mirror, for burning the bridge. I needed it. We stood in silence for a while. I finally said, "So what now?" He shrugged. "I'm looking for work, real work. VA cut me off, so I gotta hustle. Temp jobs, warehouse gigs, whatever." I nodded. He cleared his throat. "If you ever need help on a job site, or you know someone hiring, just keep me in mind." I stared at him, thought about it. Then said, "If you want to prove you've changed, start by showing up for your kids. Pay rent. Pay bills. Take care of your own damn family." "I will," he said. Good. We didn't hug, didn't shake hands, just kind of nodded and turned away. As I walked back to my truck, I felt weird. Not angry, not relieved. Just open, like maybe for once something had shifted. But I wasn't naive. Cole's words meant something, but they weren't everything. Actions still mattered more. And trust that takes time. Years. Maybe forever. But you know what? That conversation didn't change my past. It didn't make my parents better people or undo all the bullshit. What it did do was close a door. Not slam it shut, just gently push it closed with a soft click. And that was enough for me.